What's up, ladies? Welcome back to my channel. As you can see by the caption of the video, today we are going to be doing a freestyle full set. So before I get into the tutorial, please make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. My past few videos, if you've been watching, I have been telling you guys about my subscriber giveaways, so definitely make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell. That way you can get any notifications for updates as far as that. I'm going to be doing a fabulous giveaway. I'm so excited once I reach my goal of subscribers. So yes, let's get us to 500 subscribers, and I'm going to be doing my first really big giveaway, ladies. So also follow my social medias, which will be down below, and be on the lookout for my online nail store. I am in the works of getting that together right now, so that should be up and running within the next few months. But enough of that, let's hop into this wonderful tutorial, guys. I literally love these nails so much. This was a freestyle straight from the brain. Freestyles are my specialty. I actually am thinking about making that my logo, or not my logo, my slogan, because let me tell you, I definitely do what needs to be done when it comes to the freestyles. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to get into this tutorial. So I started by pushing the cuticles back to expose all the new growth and the whole entire nail bed, and then I went around the cuticles with my cone drill bit. So I think I'm going to start calling that my cuticle drill bit. I always call it my cone drill bit because it's shaped like a cone. But yeah, anyways, I went around the cuticles with that just really lightly to get any, dead skin cells, dead nail, just any, anything that does not need to be there. Just go ahead and use that cone drill bit to start with a fresh clean slate. So then I went back in with my sanding band, and of course, ladies, you always have to use a brand new sanding band for each and every client. Do not forget that. If your nail tech is not switching out her sanding bands, you have a problem. So anyways, you want to go over the whole entire natural nail with your sanding band, not too much pressure, just slightly going over it. And what this does is gets rid of the natural oils on the nails, which helps them get ready for the acrylic application. Now, if the natural nails have any oils or anything like that, it will and can, or I guess I should say it can and will hinder, your retention and your acrylic, staying on, how long your nails last, everything of that sort. So it's really important to make sure that you do that step. Now, I don't show it in the video, but I do always, for each and every client, clip their cuticles. I know in some states that's not allowed. Some nail techs don't do that. Some nail techs do. Me, myself, I do that. Only because I just can't see myself doing a set without one. I just feel like it's not complete, especially if you have a client that has a whole bunch of, dead, just new growth, or just a whole bunch of excess skin up there that needs to go. So the epinicium needs to go, baby. So anyways, that's not really something I film, just because I know it's like hit or miss with some people. So I just leave that part out, but I do like to mention it. So I went ahead and applied my tips, and as you'll see in the end, or as you see now, she is doing long. So we're sticking with the tapered squares. So I went ahead and cut them down to her length, and now I am just going back in with my 80 grit file, and I'm just cleaning up the shape, making it just a little bit more crispy and clean. So since we're sticking with the square on the sides, same as I always say in my videos for the most part, because I really do a really good square shape. So girls always come and get that square shape. They just love it. So yeah, that manicured square shape is nothing to play with. Anyways, so like I say in most of my videos, when you're doing a square shape, to get a nice, clean, tapered, like crispy, just all around good square shape, on the sides, you want to start with the sides, obviously, and you want to file at a 90-degree angle, straight, up and down, to get that really nice, clean, crispy shape. And on the free edge, which is a really important part, you want to place your file against the edge of the nail and file straight up and down at a 90-degree angle. Now, of course, you'll see me flip the nails, look at them from different angles, because you want to make sure that the shape isn't just right from one view. You want to make sure that you're looking at it from multiple different views to make sure that the shape is really truly how it should be, and not just how it should be from that one angle that you typically are looking at the nails from when you're filing. So as you can see, I'm just kind of moving them around, looking at them from different angles, and they are all even, all straight and ready to go. So now I'm going in with that same sanding band, and I'm just lightly going over the nail tip. And the biggest, most important part in this step right here is going over where the nail tip meets the natural nail. And that is important because when you do that, when you go over that part with the sanding band, it blends in the nail tip, and that helps with retention and really helps prevent lifting. Now, lifting is one of the biggest problems that a lot of people deal with when starting off, with doing nails. So this is a step that people normally don't even think about that does cause, the popping off, the lifting, things like that. And it takes them a while to realize that. So I like to always throw that out there so people can know from jump to, make sure that they're doing that step. And a lot of people ask me, why do I file the whole nail tip? And I like to do that because I feel like it helps with the retention of the acrylic. Like the acrylic just stays on and applies much easier and just way better in my opinion. So now I'm going in with my Mia Secret dehydrator just to give the nails one more little dry out, I guess you could say, one more little strip of the natural oils. And then I'm going back in with my Young Nails Protein Bond, and that is going to help with the acrylic application, the adherence of the acrylic. It's going to help stick and really bond to that nail bed. So yeah, I'm not even going to lie, you guys, this set was just crazy. I was literally just going with the flow and pulling things from left and right. So yeah, her first nail, her pinky nail and her ring finger are going to just be plain nude as far as acrylic application goes. And I always say to do the same 3 or 4 bead method depending on the length of the nail and the shape. Typically 3 or 4 beads is the base. That's normally okay. That's normally enough acrylic. So I always like to start from the bottom and work my way up to the top, and I always end off with a really nice foundation, a really nice apex. Of course, sometimes things don't always work out how they should. So you always want to make sure that you're looking at the nail after your acrylic application to see if you need to go back in and add any acrylic in any spots. And one thing that a lot of people don't really realize is that you do not need your whole entire nail to be thick. Your whole nail does not have to be really thick and full of acrylic for it to stay. The main and most important part of the acrylic application process is the apex. That is 9 times out of 10 where the nail is going to break, if it's going to break. So when you be seeing girls, or if you're nail teching, sometimes you have clients like send you pictures and they just have the acrylic like on their natural nail and the whole tip is missing. That's where it broke. That's the apex. So that is where the nail tip meets the natural nail, and that's the most important, because without the nail tip, that's literally the main part and what's holding that nail tip onto the nail. So if that's not thick enough in that area, if you barely have any acrylic right there, that nail tip is just going to snap. So the whole point of having a nice apex is to build that part where the natural nail and the nail tip meet, where you glue the nail tip on, to make it more simple. You need to build that up. That way, when, think of it kind of like the beginning process of putting on nails. When you first glue that nail tip on, and they're real flimsy, you can tap them and they might pop off, they're really bendy, they bend with your natural nail. So imagine if you don't have enough acrylic, it's still going to be the same exact way, so you have to build that part right there up. That way when you're tapping and you're doing this and you're doing that, it's strong. It's not going to bend, it's not going to break, it's not going to take your real nail with it, hopefully, because you have a nice apex. You have a very strong foundation in that area to where it'll hold the nail tip on, as well as the whole entire acrylic nail. So yeah, that was my little mini rant on apex. So again, like I said, just because 3 to 4 beads is what I recommend starting off with. Even myself, you know, sometimes I still have to go back in and add more beads or more acrylic here and there, and it's better to have too much acrylic than not enough. Now I say that, you know, take that with a little grain of salt, because you don't want to have way too much acrylic. And so as you can see, like as I'm applying it, I'm constantly wiping the sides and wiping the free edge, and I'm working with medium sized beads, medium close to small, honestly, because like I just said, you don't want to have way too much acrylic, because in the end you're going to just, unless you let your client leave with, you know, very thick nails, in the end you're going to have to just file that right back off, so which it will just be a total waste of time. So you want to work, you know, don't, you want to work smarter, not harder. You don't want to put too little acrylic, because then your nails are just going to be popping off, they're going to be breaking, you're going to have an upset client, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to be having to, you know, give her money back or do another free set, whatever the case may be. But you don't want to have too much, because it will just really be a waste of time. You're going to have to file that all off in the end. It's going to, you know, take a lot more work. So it's better to just, you know, work with small to medium beads, I guess, and just work your way up. You can always add. It's easier to add than to take off. So this nail, you guys, I don't know what the hell happened. I noticed that my phone had just stopped recording, so at least I got one little, you know, bead of acrylic in this silver acrylic, so I mean, that's better than nothing. So this is actually going to be like, as far as acrylic application goes, this is going to be a silver nail, and then we're going to encapsulate it with clear. So same exact process as any other acrylic, you just work your way up. Now one thing I will say, I try to, when I'm encapsulating acrylic, I try to use 3 beads, and that's pretty much it. Because when I go back over top of that with the clear, I don't want it to be a super big fat nail. So one thing you can do, as you can see, I'm going back in with the clear acrylic, and I'm starting from bottom, working my way up to the cuticle area. You can do it that way. I had originally planned on showing you this way, and then on the other finger, on the other hand, showing you the other way I'm about to tell you, but that didn't work out, so I'll just tell you now. So when encapsulating, you can you know, build your way up with the clear like I'm doing here, or you can just get a nice size bead and start from the cuticle area and just pat it and feather it down to the free edge, and as long as everything is covered, you're good. So that's an easy way if you don't want to use multiple different beads or worry about your nail being too thick. As long as, you know, you don't see anything shiny or anything of the whatever acrylic you're encapsulating, as long as you don't see that sticking out anywhere, as long as everything's covered, you're good. You don't have to worry about making it super thick or anything like that. And another thing for acrylic, you do not want to drag the acrylic, ladies. You just want to feather it, lightly pat it. Dragging it is just going to result in most of the acrylic just either getting clogged in your brush or completely coming off, and you're going to be wiping on the napkin, and you're going to find yourself constantly going back with more acrylic, and you're going to be like, why is this not, you know, where's the nail? Where's the acrylic? Why is this not building up? And then you're going to look at your napkin and see that that's because you're wiping most of it off. That was my biggest problem when I started nails. I literally would wipe all my acrylic off, and it would take me so long to do sets. I would waste so much product, so much monomer. It was ridiculous, you guys. I'm not even going to get into that, but yeah, that actually just gave me an idea. I think I want to do a video top 10 mistakes as a beginner nail tech to avoid, or something like that. I think that would really help some people out, but another story for another time. So anyways, this nail is going to be a marbled nail. I'm going in with some lime green acrylic. It's actually from Mia Secret, which I don't use too much Mia Secret acrylic, except for the clear. I use clear all the time, but I can't even remember what color this is. I just looked at my acrylic collection and seen it, and she wanted to do green for the set, so it worked out perfect. But I'm marbling it with Young Nails Cover Rosebud. And so to marble, there's a lot of different ways you can do that, but one of the easiest ways I do it is just to work a little wetter, of course, and you pick up one bead of one color and you go right back into your other color and it will pick up some of that acrylic too. And you just place it on the nail and mix it around, or you can pick up a bead of one color, place it on the nail, and pick up the other bead of the other color, place it, and then just mix it. It's really simple, as you can see in my video. It probably took me about 2 minutes to do that nail. And so this is actually going to be another encapsulated nail. So I went ahead and added some green flakes. I guess I mentioned this in one of my other videos. I don't really want to call it foil because it's not thick. It's not the same consistency as most foils. It's really thin and easy to work with. You know, as you see, I just picked it up with the wet monomered brush, placed it on the nail, and it stayed. So it's really easy to work with. I'm just going to call them flakes. But we went ahead and added them. I feel like the nail just needed a little bit more. It didn't really give the effect with the marble that I wanted it to. So the green flakes really added to it. And as you can see, I'm going back in with my Mia Secret clear acrylic, and I'm just working my way back up from base to cuticle as far as encapsulating it, making sure to continue to wipe the sides, wipe the free edge, keep that nice clean shape. That way in the end, you know, I'm not really having to file too much. It really cuts out so much time, you guys, if you keep your acrylic application clean and smooth. It makes the filing so much easier, so much quicker, and it's just overall, you know, better and easier to work that way. I also wanted to mention, if you're wondering what acrylic or what brand the silver glitter that I use for the middle finger is, it is from Sugar and Cream. I cannot remember the exact name, but if you would like to know, just leave me a comment below. That way I can see that and remember to go in and get that color for you guys. But I love it. It is a very nice sized jar. I've had it for I don't even know how long. Granted, I don't use it on every single client, but I do use it a lot. But it, you know, I'm still going strong. I still have so much in there, but I love it. I am literally such a big fan of Sugar and Cream acrylics. I think that's by far my number one acrylic, like brand acrylic. Like, you cannot tell me nothing about no Sugar and Cream because I love them so much. Like, my dream is to become a brand ambassador for them. I think I would literally die, but yeah, just a little, you know, TMI. So, anyways, the thumbnail is also going to be just a plain nude nail. So, I'm not going to say too much about this because it's going to be the same process as all of the rest of the acrylic application. Well, basic acrylic application, I should say. So I'm going to let you guys watch this, and I'm going to jump back in and the next step, which will be the filing. But before I go, I do want to say this. You will see on all the nails, every single set I do, I did mention, you know, to constantly wipe the sides and the free edge to keep that nail tip, well, not nail tip, I don't know what I'm saying, to keep that acrylic application nice and smooth and neat. But you also want to make sure that you're wiping around the cuticle area after your application, during your application, you know, constantly making sure that that cuticle area is nice and clean. It helps with the acrylic being flushed. That is a really big deal. When applying your cuticle bead, you do not want to place it right on the cuticle. You want to place it right underneath, because when you start to feather that acrylic down, it will, you know, push up a little bit, if that makes sense, so it'll all cover what it needs to be covered. But placing it right on the cuticle or too close will just cause that acrylic to flood the cuticle, and you're 100% sure going to get lifting if that happens. So you want to make sure that you're only applying acrylic to the natural nail, and that you're constantly cleaning up the side walls of the nail, the cuticle of the nail, keeping it free of all acrylic. That way, you know, your new growth grows in how it should, your acrylic is laid how it should, and you don't have any lifting. So yeah, I just wanted to add that in. So now I'm going back in with that same file and I'm just cleaning up the shape a little bit. You're going to do the same exact steps that I mentioned before, filing the sides of the nails at a 90-degree angle and the free edge at a 90-degree angle, but this time you're going to want to make sure that you go in underneath the sides of the nails and file those just a little bit. As you can see, I am like kind of getting underneath the nail and filing it up a little bit. And the reason I do that is because sometimes the acrylic, kind of seeps over, especially when I'm constantly cleaning up the sides of the nails during the acrylic application. Constantly running the brush down the sides and on the free edge does sometimes cause the acrylic to kind of, sneak under there. And with me using such a, 80 grit file, sometimes it does leave the nail tip a little jagged under there. So once you have the acrylic on there, and you're working with like a thicker foundation, a thicker base, I guess you could say, rather than just the nail tip, it's much easier to go back in and straighten that up and make sure it's nice and clean under there. And it does make a difference because the nails will look so bomb from one angle, but as soon as you see anything underneath the nail, if it's like ragged or jagged or anything hanging out, any acrylic underneath there, you're definitely going to see that, and it will take away from the quality of the nails and the look of the nails so much. So as you can see, I am just turning the hand from different angles and filing. This does help make sure that the free edge of the nail is straight. Sometimes just from filing it and looking at it from this angle, it does appear to be straight, but then you flip it and look at it from the way that you just seen, and it'll be a little crooked or slanted more on one side than the other. So I always like to turn it. Like I always say, look at it from different angles, and that does help just to ensure that they are straight and ready to go. So, yeah, nice and clean. Look at those. Look at those. Nice and clean. Yes, hunty. So now I'm going to go in with the sanding band, and I'm just going to seal the cuticle, seal the acrylic. This is really important because it helps prevent lifting and just gives it a really flush, nice look. It's really important, you guys want to make sure that you don't skip that step because it can make or break the difference of the look of your set. Sometimes people don't, do this part in the nail process, and it leaves their cuticle area looking really big and bulky, and we do not want that. So aside from that, you want to also just go over the whole entire nail from top to bottom, left to right, ensuring that the whole entire nail is nice and smooth and flat. You do not want any lumps or bumps because those are going to be really noticeable, especially when you put the top coat on. And even if they're not noticeable, you still want to make sure that you're letting your client receive, the best quality work that you can give, and lumps and bumps is not that. So this is actually a really quick, simple step, and I just wanted to throw out there, as you can see, I kind of have my drill bit extended a little bit. I don't have it like lowered in all into my drill all the way, and that's because I've noticed that leaving it out a little bit has been way easier for me. It's actually allowed me, I guess, more, I want to say more space to work. I know that might sound like it doesn't make sense, but I feel like when I do have my drill bit all the way into the drill, I am like working super, it just feels super claustrophobic and super, I don't really know the word, but it just, maybe you should try it out and see how you like it. I definitely love it way better. So now I'm just going in with that buffer. I got these off Amazon, super cheap. Just look up buffer bundles, I think you'll find them, and I got so many for such a cheap price. So I'm just going over the nails, and that is what helps get rid of any scratches or anything that may have gotten onto the nail or left on the nail from that drill bit. So yeah, now I have a really nice smooth base to work with, and this nail is going to be a glitter croc print nail. So what I'm doing is I have the green polish kind of poured out a little bit on that jar of foil that you see there, and I'm just using a dotting tool. I'm dipping the dotting tool in the green, and I'm just working from left to right, top to bottom. This is literally so easy, you guys. You just dip that dotting tool in whatever polish you're using, and you just want to place it where you want your print to go and literally move it left to right. Just, it's literally like a dot but spread out a little bit. That's the best way that I can explain it. So, you know, if you feel like you're having trouble or you're struggling with this, try to just place the dot of the color and then spread it out from left to right just a little bit. It's one of the easiest designs, even though it looks a little hard. So while the polish is still wet, you guys, I'm pouring over the glitter, making sure that all the polish is covered, and I'm going to tap the nail to get any excess glitter off, and I am going to then let it cure for 60 seconds to make sure that it's dry. And once you come back out, you can dust off all of the excess glitter. So since I'm doing a design on these nails, I do want to make sure that the glitter is nice and shiny. So I'm going to go ahead and put that top coat on them and let them cure for 60 seconds. And same with the pinky and the thumbnail. I wanted to make sure that the nail was nice and glossy before applying any, you know, decor or jewels. Now, typically I don't always do this, but in this case I did. I have found that the nails just hit better when I put the top coat on, you know, prior to doing any designs, depending on what the design is. Now for the thumb and the pinky, they're just getting some jewels, so it did work better for me, and it ended up looking better. So as you can see, this nail already has a top coat on, it's already cured, and it is very blingy. It's very nice. So when I'm going back in with this Macart rhinestone glue to apply my snake, you know, it doesn't take away from it. As you can see, it does take up a lot of the nail. So imagine having to go back in and trying to apply top coat with this big old snake over top. It just was not going to work. So as you can see, I was able to place the snake. You know, you kind of got to play with it just a little because it is heavy. I got these off Amazon, by the way, and then I did let that cure for to stay in place. But as you can see, the snake's on, the nail shiny. I'm good to go. Already top coated. I didn't have to fight with it or trying to get it in the creases of the snake. It's already how it should be. So for the pinky nail, I'm just doing one gem at the cuticle of the nail, and then I'm doing a money symbol, which I also got off of Amazon, at the bottom of, I guess, the free edge, I should say, of the nail. And like I said, you guys, don't get discouraged if you feel like the jewels are moving all around, because with the rhinestone glue, with it being so thick, sometimes it does cause them to slide, especially if the jewels are on the heavier side, which these two were. So I went ahead and let that cure. So now I'm just working on the last finger, and as you can see, the glitter on this, well, not the glitter, but the foil from earlier, what we encapsulated, is nice and shiny. So I just wanted to add a few Gucci decals on. I feel like applying them to the top coat kind of helped them stick way better. So this was actually my first time doing it this way, but I'm definitely going to continue to do it in the future. So I did go back over with more gel top coat just to apply a layer over top of those to help them stay on just a little, you know, be a little more secure. And yeah, I'm going to go back in on the thumb with that same Macart rhinestone glue, and I'm just going to add one stone up by the cuticle area. I'm going to wipe the edges to get any excess gel off and let them cure, and this is the final result, you guys. These are so beautiful. I love them so much. These are definitely my top 10. If you want to see more videos on these, go check out my Instagram, my TikTok below. I literally did so much content with these. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I actually am going to be dropping back to back, so tune in for the next video. Leave me a comment, and until next time.